Let's get into this Nico Heisman Trophy thing. What are the odds? You said he dropped in the odds, right?
Yes, I'm pulling the odds up right now. Just give me 1 second to do it on FanDuel.
Okay, because I have a column online where I don't think that Nico can win the Heisman Trophy anymore, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I'll explain to you why. Give me those odds.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to pull them up. This is odds via FanDuel, by the way. Nico was fourth last week, in case you guys forgot, and now he is down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. He's dropped to 6 at plus 1,800 now, which is actually lower than when he started, funny enough. So his odds are now lower than when the season started.
Okay. And I think that's appropriate based off what Tennessee has as a whole. I don't think it's an indication that he's played poorly whatsoever. I don't believe Nico Iamaleava can win the Heisman. And there's a couple of different reasons why. One is Tennessee's football team is better overall. And I mentioned Stetson Bennett's name. There are a lot of quarterbacks that could have won a lot of games at Georgia besides Stetson Bennett. And I believe firmly that this team can win in a lot of different ways. We've seen the double tight end look. We've seen them run the football. I think that you also have to take into account that when Josh Heupel's putting together a game plan, when he's developing plays, he knows, and when he's play calling, and people can say that somebody else is handling play calling all you want, Joey Halzle, but at the end of the day, it all goes through Josh Heupel's headset. You know, Halzle doesn't say, "Oh, it's fake punt time." So at the end of the day, it's what Heupel designs. He's going to try to minimize the number of times that Nico gets hit. I think we all would agree on that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so when he develops those game plans, it's going to take away the running ability, which Heisman voters love. And then you have some other guys like Jalen Milroe that you suddenly have to keep in the discussion. Now, that's Bank on It, and it's brought to you by Commercial Bank. Bank on it. Nico will not win the Heisman this year. Brought to you by Commercial Bank, and I'm here to tell you right now, I've been with Commercial Bank a long time, member FDIC, life made better. Commercial Bank creates positive experiences for every customer every day with better solutions, better technology. Commercial Bank for personal or business. Commercial Bank, life made better. Link right down below. Caleb, Nico can't win the Heisman this year. Tell me I'm wrong. And you know that I've had him right up at the top.
Let me boost your argument and then unmake it. Is that fair?
Yes, and I like how you stopped using Stillman, Strawman because it always got me confused. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me boost it first. There is a trend that is permeating college football, and you called this 2 weeks ago and why it's happening, and you are dead right on this because we're seeing it in the NFL, where defenses have gotten so focused on trying to take away deep shots that they are now soft to where there's a renaissance of the power run game. You're seeing it in the NFL. You saw it last night with Derrick Henry rushing for 199 yards, and only my Titans could have been stupid enough to try to go to a pass-happy offense when they had a power run game at a time where there's a renaissance of the power run game. And I'm sorry, that's just my rant. But the other point of that is Josh Heupel. That benefits him because of his willingness to stay patient and committed to the run game. And if teams teams in college are committed to taking away deep shots, which is going to limit what Nico can do. However, this can only last so long because Tennessee is gashing people on the ground, Dave. They're gashing people. And at some point, teams are going to have to cheat up. The deep shots will be there. And I think the moment that happens, Dave, will be the Alabama game when Nico is much more acclimated to the offense. Dylan Sampson will have 2 more big games where he rushes for like 150 yards, and everybody's talking about Tennessee's rushing attack. Alabama's going to come in and realize that and say, we got to take away Dylan Sampson. And that's where Nico can go off. And it is 2 undefeated teams at Neyland Stadium. Nico going off. All of a sudden, he's right back in the Heisman race at that point. I think that the other side to this is, while teams are taking away the deep shots, they're still leaving the middle of the field open a lot. And Nico works the middle of the field better than any quarterback at Tennessee, better than anybody I've ever seen. I'm just going to be honest. And so with that in mind, I think you're going to see him. You're not going to get as many Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt plays for 75 yards or a touchdown, but you might get 3 passes to Dante Thornton, Brew McCoy, and Squirrel White that go 75 yards total for a touchdown. And you're going to see a lot more of that.
I want to ask you if you would agree with this, that Nico, even though it's a team game and win-loss is not a quarterback stat, but I'm sorry, it's often associated with that. Shouldn't be, but it is. Jim Kelly was a great quarterback, even though he lost 4 Super Bowls. Okay, so Peyton Manning was a great quarterback, even though he didn't beat Florida. But my question is, does he have to win either the Alabama-Georgia game or both to win the Heisman? Bank on it. I don't think Nico can win the Heisman this year. Caleb does. Brought to you by Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
All right. So does Tennessee have to beat either Alabama or Georgia or both for Nico to win the Heisman?
Yeah, they have to beat one of them. And that Nico has to light up one of them too. But I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to light up Alabama. And now I missed it. I thought he was going to light up Oklahoma. Flow of the game, banged up tackles made that not really plausible. But I do think he's going to light up Alabama. But yes, he has to light up one of them. Doesn't have to do both, but he has to light up one of them. Now, to your point, and this has always cost Tennessee in the past, not lighting up Georgia could be very harmful to Tennessee because, once again, Tennessee, that's their only marquee November showdown. Guys, the biggest reason Tennessee doesn't have a Heisman winner to this point is because they don't have that many marquee November showdowns in their history. There just haven't been the chances.
That's a great point. I mean, a lot of those, and the team would get down oftentimes against Vanderbilt or Kentucky because they didn't have things to play for. I mean, you were the first person, it's been a while, that you brought that up. I mean, they do have those November showdowns now, so I would think that he would have that opportunity, which would be big. Because I will tell you this, that you do not win the Heisman in October. You win it in November. You just keep yourself in position in September and October. Here's the other thing that I don't really think you can argue with is that a lot of Heisman voters are lazy. All right. So, I mean, it really is like a big deal to me. I appreciate the opportunity to vote on the Heisman. But Caleb, I mean, after the regular season's over, when the votes are in, I take a couple of hours and I look at everybody. But I think most people, let's say that Jalen Milroe wins the SEC. And Alabama wins the SEC. I think they would just easily pick Jalen Milroe. Same for Carson Beck, which isn't going to happen because he's got a noodle for an arm. So, but I think you'd have to concede that a lot of the Heisman voters are lazy.
Yeah. The whole reason Charles Woodson beat Peyton Manning was what happened the last weekend in November. When Peyton Manning, unfortunately for Tennessee, struggled to beat Vanderbilt because, like you said, they got down. They didn't really care about that game, and Peyton Manning had a horrible performance. They win 17-10. And Charles Woodson has a punt return touchdown, catches a touchdown, and has an interception as Michigan beats Ohio State. That's all anybody ever saw. No one paid attention to the rest of the year. And they gave Charles Woodson the Heisman over that. That happens all the time. And I'm with you. Heisman voters are lazy. And you're right.
Except for me. You got to give me some credit. I'll put in my work.
No, not all Heisman voters. I think people really do take the vote seriously. Look, I take my vote seriously, Dave. When I was at SEC Media Days last year, I was very, very methodical in who I voted for. And I was very, very serious about it. And I actually took great offense to someone voting Vanderbilt to win the SEC because I just thought that, you're trolling when you do that, but it's like those baseball Hall of Fame voters that are like, well, this person can't be the first unanimous Hall of Famer, so I'm not going to vote for them to get in. And I'm like, you shouldn't have a vote if you do stuff like that.
Let's get if somebody wants to throw in a super chat, we don't ask for that, but it goes straight to Quincy Calhoun, Caleb's 3-month-old son. But let's get a super chat for Quincy because we got the voice out of Caleb. I'm not sure which one that was, but that was, I would say at the very least, I would think a very uppity, pretentious English person. And
No,
by the way,
I was making a dumb person voice.
Well, it sounded pretentious. All right. So, by the way, we might have British Dave Hooker on the program to pick against you. I don't know if you've seen him on Twitter.
Yes, I saw you tweeting him this weekend.
Yes. So, British Dave Hooker, who is a soccer ref in England, is going to match off against Caleb in picks for the ages, really, I would say. And we'll see if he can top Caleb Calhoun.